This is very exciting. I think it's very important for people to try new things. Yesterday, first time ever, you did Bikram hot yoga.
Yeah, well, I did. I've never done yoga at all before.
Okay, and you decided to start with hot yoga.
Here's why. So I was listening to this podcast from ESPN, like a 30 for 31, about Bikram yoga. And it was like this, in the 70s, it turned into this whole like sex cult and like this weird power thing. And I was like, I want to try that.
Right.
So I looked it up, and there was one right next to in the town right next to me. So I signed up and I went. And when I went, the lady who teaches the class, I said, I've never done any yoga before. And she said, so for this class, really, you just want to survive. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, clearly she doesn't know me, because you look at me like you think, athlete.
Yeah.
So I went in there, and turns out that was very good advice, the advice that she had for me.
Is this a 60-minute ordeal?
Oh,
90?
no, it was 90 minutes.
90 minutes, yeah. That requires survival if something is uncomfortable.
Okay, so I think I had to stand to demonstrate what happened was, so you start with these poses, and, you do stuff like this, and I was like, this is easy. Yeah. And so for the first 30 minutes, I was doing fine. The second 60 minutes, I've spent most of the time doing this. And then by the last third, everybody was doing these contortions, and this was literally what I was doing for the last 30 minutes of the thing.
A survivor.
Surviving.
Yeah. Now, yesterday was uncomfortably hot, even if you weren't doing yoga.
Right.
We were in the 90s here.
Because what I thought was, my brain was like, well, it's 90 degrees outside already, so it won't be that much hotter in the yoga studio. But what I didn't anticipate is that if it's hot outside, the yoga studio also gets much hotter.
Right.
Than it might be in like February or something.
Gotcha.
Seth, it was really hot.
Was it, when you walked in, but was your first reaction, oh, I've overstepped my limits?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm arrogant.
Oh, gotcha.
I walked in and I thought, this isn't so hot.
Gotcha.
Cut to
on the floor sleeping, yeah.
Not sleeping. Trying desperately not to throw up or pass out. Definitely not sleeping.
Well, congratulations. You're here and you look great.
Do you think?
I do.
Thanks, Seth.
You're very welcome. I've talked to you about this before. You were in an incredible sketch comedy group called The State. Mm-hmm. And you were, give it up for The State.
Thanks, guys.
You were young.
Yeah.
How were you guys, you were in your 20s, but it was low 20s, right? Early 20s.
I was the youngest in the group, and I think I was 20 or 21 when the show premiered on MTV.
Got it. So then, I was in sketch comedy troupes when I was that age, but no one ever gave us money. Now you have a television show, so there's 11 of you.
Right, but the difference is now you have a television show, and now nobody's giving me money.
Right, that's true. But you're getting 19 a pop over here, so what was it like when you guys first, being that young and getting money, what was that like?
Well, when you say getting money, I think we were on MTV. I think I was bringing home $400 a week.
Okay.
It wasn't like I was rolling in it.
Right.
Like, what I have in my wallet right now is almost certainly more than I was making on a weekly basis at MTV. I have like $300 in my wallet.
Yeah.
This would have been a fortune then, and now it's actually still kind of a fortune.
Yeah, really. It's really impressive. So, did you guys ever do you feel like you ever made choices about how to do your show based on being young and even having anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, the one thing that I think we did really well was we were very tapped into kind of who we were. We were tapped into sort of being, at the time, the kind of youth market. I mean, with the comedy that we were making was reflective of exactly who we were.
Right.
It was very kind of aggressive and very kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, 90s, whatever that means.
Yes.
And we were really good at that. Like we knew how to be ourselves, which was great.
Do you feel like, well, I know I asked you this earlier today, but your kids don't care about this? Do they care about that?
No.
Yeah.
No. No. I mean, they're barely speaking to me at this point.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is which is fine. They're teenagers. That's what they're supposed to be
Yeah,
doing.
that is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly right. I'm very, when developmentally, when they're like, I hate you, Dad, I'm like, perfect. That's exactly
Where you're supposed
right.
to
That's
be.
where you're supposed to
Yeah,
be.
exactly. Thank you so much for being back.
My
It's always a pleasure
pleasure.
to see you. Michael Ian Black, everybody.